Hi, today I want to talk to you about this thing. This is a percussion massager, and in this video we're going to talk about the right ways and the wrong ways to utilize this. As many of you probably know, a percussion massager, these are often touted as a really important piece of fitness equipment for a lot of reasons. They're really good for recovery, and they're excellent for mobilizing and hydrating myofascial tissue, and the contact of the percussion also creates some neurological feedback that helps the body and brain map better, which increases efficiency and proprioception, which improves biomechanics. So there's a lot of benefits to these things. Unfortunately, not everyone is aware of the drawbacks, and I want to talk a little bit about the drawbacks. So a lot of the time when people get a percussion massager, what they often get is a head that looks something like this or like this. And what they'll often do is place this in here and turn it on and then proceed to jam it into their body as hard as they can and try to do deep tissue work with it. Percussion massagers are not designed to do deep tissue work. You need to think about this like a power tool. And the reason for that is because it's a power tool that you're using on your body. Now, all the benefits are not gone. So highly, highly useful. But the problem is when you take something like this head, or worse yet, something like this head, something really pointy, and jam it into your body and really push on it, particularly in an area that might potentially already be inflamed and irritated, you are likely going to actually do damage to the muscle tissue and then create more inflammation. That is not what we want. So you'll notice that when I turn this on, so my little switch here is on the bottom, it's going to come on, and you'll see that it actually goes all the way up to 7. When I work on myself and most of my clients, I barely ever turn it past a 2, and I hardly ever go above a 3. So it's really not necessary to turn it up as high as it will go and then really, really push on it. So that's one thing. You don't want to utilize this tool on an area that's already inflamed in any kind of aggressive way. In fact, if you have an area that's really bothering you or you find is giving you a hard time, one of the things that you would want to utilize is something that looks more like this. Something with a flat end. So let me give you an example. If my bicep tendon was bothering me, okay, which is this area right here, a lot of people will get inflamed bicep tendons, and as a result, they'll feel it as neck pain or shoulder pain or trap pain. So the natural tendency is to think, okay, it hurts right here, so I'm going to take the thing and I'm going to really massage that area. No. That's not the goal here. This should never be utilized on bone or cartilage or tendon. This is for myofascial work. Myo meaning muscular fascial work. So instead of releasing, I can't release the bicep tendon, but what I can do is I can turn it on and I can release the bicep muscle. So I can put on the head of that muscle gentle movement. Okay, I'm not pressing hard, I'm not jamming this into my body, I'm not trying to get deep down toward the bone. What I'm doing is I'm working on the more superficial layer. I'm working on the layer that the tension is held in, which is these tight muscles. And what I want to do is release the bicep. I want to release it by introducing more hydration into the tissues, and the percussion is also helping the homunculus in my brain map the area better, hopefully to bring it out of spasm. But what I don't want to do is put hard pressure on it and move through the muscle. That's not necessary. After I do the bicep, I want to work on other areas that might feed into the tendon, like the pectoral. I can move through this area, but I don't want to get up on my clavicle. I don't want to do anything like that. Or I want to work on the deltoid here on the outside, or I can even work on the triceps. That's an area that could also be affecting the mechanics of the bicep tendon. So as you can see, I'm not jamming this into me and running it really, really hard. Instead, what I want to do is I want to work on the more superficial layers. The brand I'm using is called a Toloco, T-O-L-O-C-O. You can get these on Amazon for about $50, $60. They're really, really good. And honestly, you don't need a lot more power than this delivers unless you're a very large and powerful athlete. One of my favorite things about this particular model is it comes with lots of heads. And the head I like most is this squishy one because I can work on tissues that are very close to the surface of the bone. For example, the serratus anterior is a muscle that often plays a role in a lot of different types of shoulder dysfunction, and it sits right on the ribs and it attaches to the rear side of the scapula. So what I'm going to do instead of trying to use a hard head and jam into this is I'm going to put this softer head on there and just gently and kindly work that area. Now, you want to work these areas if you're trying to make improvement in mobility and you're trying to release the musculature and hydrate it so that you can then stretch it and then activate it, which is the process that I work through with all of my clients, and it's one that I highly recommend. Instead of just doing this and thinking that it's an end unto itself, it's not. Muscles need to be released, then mobilized, then activated, and then integrated back into the system. That's really, really important to go through that process. So I like to utilize lots of different types of heads, but the ones I tend to use the most are that rounded one I started with, this one, and there is a really great one that looks like this, and a lot of people get heads that look flat like this. These are perfect for working on flat superficial muscles like the pectoral. The rounded one's good, but this one really allows me to kind of work through the area, and I can work near bones, but I don't want to go on them. Like I would never want to go on my sternum with this. That doesn't make sense. So as I release the muscle, I want to give it about 90 seconds for each muscle group, and I want to make sure that I'm working evenly through the area with a slow, methodical pace. This is really important. We want to avoid anything that would cause us to either grimace or grunt or wince or tighten up because the pressure's too high and the discomfort's too high. I refer to that as your frame of tolerance. If you're outside your frame of tolerance, there's a potential that you're doing damage to the muscle. And if you do damage to the muscle, that causes inflammation. And then inflammation can lead to spasms. Those spasms lead to remodeling of fascia. That remodeling of fascia ultimately changes the biomechanics in the area, and you enter something called the cumulative injury cycle, which I talk about with my clients a lot as well. My goal as a trainer with the people that I work with is to help correct these imbalances and optimize movement so that way we get away from the cumulative injury cycle and we're increasing the loci of movement. So I hope this has been helpful. If you have enjoyed this video and you learned something, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those questions in the comments section below. And there's also a link to my website if you would like to check out my website and learn more about myofascia and this process of releasing, mobilizing, activating, and integrating. I have a 45-minute free training that you can sign up for my email list and get access to. It's a really, really awesome training that helps this all make sense. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.